A lot of people have asked me how I'm strapping multiple cameras to the side of my car, and this is how I've done this one. So this is a GoPro mount. I have a GoPro mount on the side of my car, and I just shove a GoPro in there and I just tape everything else to the mount. In this case, I taped the Tarsier to the side, and something else you'll notice is the RunCam 5 down here, but look, just like in my previous video, the light is stuck on. So I'll cut this off, and in the process I'll tell you that every single time I have used this RunCam, it has frozen every time I've plugged it into the computer when I've been trying to transfer files, and it doesn't turn off. I can hold this button. Yeah, I do know that there's a reset button over here, but what's the point of using it to reset the camera every single time I turn it on? Just beyond me. Just the user experience, the lacking user experience is beyond me, and I haven't even told you the worst part. If I set this camera down and I do not use it for, I don't know, a week or something, the reset button doesn't even work properly. No, it doesn't. Nope. Thanks very much, reset button. Now it stopped working. The reset button is great. There you go. Reset button doesn't even work. So, yeah, thanks very much, RunCam. If you don't use this camera, or if the one that I actually have a RunCam 3S that has the same issue. It doesn't keep its charge. It just drains its battery entirely when it's sitting there, which kills the LiPo, and forget it. There's just people that want to use that camera, go ahead, use that camera, but I'm not going to recommend it because that's just absurd. Just the user experience of that is just absolutely absurd. I cannot even think about that. All right, so the Tarsier. Is the Tarsier actually any different? Is it actually any better? And I would say sort of, somewhat better, kind of better. So this is with the little battery lead the battery lead connector that I have. The thing is 17 grams-ish, 17, 18 grams. 17 grams. So it's probably about 16 and a half, 17 grams as is. Okay, so let's first talk about the video performance of this camera. The video performance, as in the HD video performance, is not that much different than any other split light camera, which is what I was expecting. As I've said in previous videos, just because a camera says it does 4K, it does not mean you get 4K quality out of the camera. It just means that it happens to have 4K pixels. I would much rather have a camera that does lower resolution, with much higher quality pixels, than I would a camera that says it does 4K with really crummy pixels and just bad everything. Now, this camera isn't that. It is genuinely slightly better than the other split light cameras in a number of ways. It's just an incremental improvement. It definitely does not replace a GoPro or an actual RunCam 5 if it actually works properly. So the field of view is a little bit wider than other split cameras. That's great. The actual video quality is a little bit better than other split cameras, which is also great. And thankfully, Caddx has majorly toned down their HDR kind of stuff on these cameras. Like, it's not so crazy HDR-y anymore, which is really nice. I really do appreciate that a lot. However, the video quality is still not a whole lot better. It's a lot of the same thing. It still lacks in sharpness. It still lacks in overall depth of field, but overall dynamic range. It's hard to pull the dynamic range up and down in post-processing because the video bitrate just isn't there. However, it is higher than other cameras. The bitrate is genuinely better than other split cameras, but it's still not quite good enough to be able to pull it around as much as a GoPro. Now, I haven't tested it in lower frame rates in the 2.760 or lower frame rates in 30. It actually doesn't let you do 2.7K in 30. If it did, I would choose that one because it would probably let me use the same bit rate and use the lower frame rate and lower resolution, so it would give me more information per pixel. Now, looking at the rest of this thing, it's a 20 by 20 stack here, but it's two boards stuck together. It does have pins that interconnect between the boards, but the boards are actually glued together pretty firmly, so I'm not worried about them breaking. It does have Wi-Fi on board. It has the SD card slot, which clicks in and out. It does not have a cover for the SD card slot, so it can pop out. Two buttons here, which I'll talk about in a second, and a connector here that has all the things coming out. It also has solder connectors on the side here, which is a really nice touch. I really appreciate that they put that there. So, the other thing about this camera is that the user experience is just awful. Just the worst user experience. So, just earlier today, I saw the Beta FPV people. They're on their way to I/O. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it, at least at this point. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it to I/O. And they brought me their new Caddx 85X whatever with the Tarsier on board. And so it took us an hour and 40 minutes to figure out how to get the thing to record, because the lights are super cryptic, the instructions are not there, and when you go looking for the app in the App Store, you can't find it because it's not properly listed. There are 4 different Caddx apps. None of them are the correct one for this camera. You have to go get another one, which I have linked in the description below, because you can't find it when you search in the App Store. That being said, these 2 buttons are totally arbitrary. This one turns on the Wi-Fi when you hold it, but the instructions say it's supposed to be this one that turns on the Wi-Fi when you hold it. And you have to hold this thing to make it blink so that you can turn on the Wi-Fi, so that you can connect to the app, so that you can format the SD card, because you can't actually record on the SD card until you format it inside the Caddx little thing. And then you can push the record button and have it record. And then at that point, it will record every time you plug it in, and it will save when you unplug, which is great. But I don't know why it doesn't come set up standard like that. And they might as well just put a format SD card button on the board, because you have to format the SD card inside the board, or it doesn't work, or you cannot get it to record. That's what took us an hour and 45 minutes to figure out. Just the worst instructions. And the only person that could help me is Albert Kim, because he already went through this headache and he told me what I needed to do to make it work. After an hour and 45 minutes, that was the only way I got this thing to work. So I am just blown away by how incredibly poor the user experience of this product, along with so many other Chinese products, are. I just can't understand. I even talked to the Beta FPV people. I asked them, does anybody in the factory actually use this before they start selling it? No, they don't. No, that's what they have reviewers for. Reviewers that usually just tell them, yeah, everything's great. It's just beyond me how you have a company that can produce such amazing technologies, but you don't even just use it yourself to see if it's usable. Anyways, once you get it working, it's totally fine. And the one best thing I can say about this split camera is that the FPV feed is genuinely fantastic. It is among the very best FPV feeds I've seen in FPV. It's almost as good as it's actually, I think it's better than what is the RunCam Eagle? I don't even remember. The Rattle. It's better than the Rattle in my opinion. The resolution looks about the same. The ability to see everything looks really, really great. It's almost up to par on the Eagle. However, the resolution of the Eagle does look like it's a little bit more. So I really genuinely like the FPV feed from this camera, and that is the one biggest improvement to split cameras with this camera. The fact that you can have an FPV camera that is separate from the other camera on board. Now, whether they did this well in that putting it all in one board and the same connector and whatnot, I'm not so sure about that. I may have preferred to have a second connector on the actual camera that's totally independent of the HD system entirely, but that's another story completely. I also like the fact that there's 2 cameras so that you can put an ND filter on just one lens and not the other one. The one on top is the HD lens. The one on the bottom is the FPV lens. And so they did make an ND filter, however, the ND filter goes over both lenses. Again, just beyond me why these companies just make things and just don't consult with anybody on it. Just waste their resources making stuff. Just stuff. Let's just make more stuff. Just sell more stuff. Yeah, and that's the rant I have about this camera. It's not bad. It actually is genuinely better than the other split cameras. However, it's just an incremental improvement. I think the option of having these 2 cameras on board is better because you have an uncompromised FPV view, which does have a great field of view. However, the HD camera does not have the same field of view, which is unfortunate. It does have electronic stabilization or image stabilization as well, but I don't think any of us are going to use it because it constricts the field of view pretty drastically. Ask me all the questions you like, and yeah, take care, floss your teeth, bye-bye.